Big up, big up, big up, and welcome to Liberal 12 Man Show. We are going to be doing a ratings show today, getting some ratings in and also getting some reviews of the game, give some perspectives, give some insight now that we've gotten our first taste of getting back to the Premier League, which has been a good one, actually, despite it was a good meal. It wasn't an exquisite meal. I'll say it like that because it wasn't. It was certainly something that we had to wait for our main course. But when it was delivered, it was one worth waiting for, as we got a great goal, great assist. Something that I showed the guys. Sent a link to the guys to show them some of the, a bird's eye view of that goal. And and we're back to being 12 points ahead and firmly in control of our destiny. So we'll see what that means exactly for us as we push on closer to facing our opponent Fulham in the weekend affair. But for now, you have myself, you have Lee, you have Brian, and you have JK. Lee, how you doing today?
Good, yeah, excellent.
Very good. And we also have JK with us. How you doing, JK?
Likewise, bro. All good, bro. All good.
Okay. Yeah, I have. It's gonna be good show, I think, today, because I definitely made a point about trying to show some numbers, some diagnosis of what we saw on the playing pitch. I know it wasn't exactly, again, there was a lot of the talk, or at least a lot of the conversation has been solely focused on the red card that should have been, possibly 2 red cards that should have been, maybe even a third if you want to consider what Pigford got away with. And it also was a return to some type of form for I actually still have our guy behind us, Mr. Yata, however you pronounce his name. I guess it's solely up to you, as long as you know who he is, which is number 20 on our squad. So it was a good response, good reply, good response, and all the same. So big up to Alexander, big up to Cedric, big up to everyone that's joining us today. And I guess let's get in. You guys ready to dive into the show?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess you could say basically Merseyside is red once again, despite the fact that we were coming from a draw, which Everton held on to as if it was a win. And hey, to each is their own. But it was Mr. Hatta as our man with the plan, as we edged past Everton 1-0 at Anfield for the 100th Reds victory over the Toffees in all competitions. It was pretty incredible to get that century mark, but it wasn't pretty when it comes to the game. It wasn't polished, as some would like to say as well. But let's not get it twisted. It was vital because we needed to get off of that losing slide, I guess you could say, that we were on, having lost 2 games for the first time back to back all year. It was a definitely beautiful night, though, under the lights. I always like Anfield under the lights. It brings a little bit more of a lure and luster to it all. And again, I said we restored our 12-point lead at the top of the Premier League with just 1 single strike before the hour mark, actually. Both teams rode their luck, I would say. Everton, especially in the first half. And Liverpool flirted with disaster defensively. I will say that too. And somehow both teams finished with 11 men on the pitch. I would definitely argue that one team, more so than the other, should not have had 11 men. But all the same, James Tarkowski was lucky to still be around after a dangerous challenge on McAllister in the opening stages. And that yellow card now puts Tarkowski joint top in Premier League history Now, hear the statistic out. This is a wild statistic. That yellow card now puts Tarkowski joint top in Premier League history for most yellows without a red. And he's tied Oriol Ramu at 63. That's certainly not a stat you want to be leading in, but it's just the sheer fact that I guess Samuel Barrett and maybe even more so Mr. Paul Tierney, the dreaded Paul Tierney that a lot of us do not like as a referee. Nothing to do with his personality or person. I know him personally, but I know that he is a horrible, horrible referee. It was their decision to only to stay with the yellow card and to only allow for him to push on to possibly be the sole participant maybe at one point of the season. Certainly it will be the case with this player because he tends to obviously get quite a few poor challenges under his belt, and that's pretty wild to say the least. But I'll ask you this quick question because it was something that, again, the biggest story. There's only two really main stories of this derby, and honestly, Lee, do you think the ref bottled the big calls last night, or was it just your typical derby day, leniency of allowing for play to continue, rough play to be given, and the likes?
I felt he bottled the Tarkowski one. Yeah, he should have got red. It looked a red immediately. That, once we've seen the replay, I'm still convinced it was a red now and should have been a red immediately. We got away with it and we got the win. So, and McAllister's okay, so we can, we can breathe easy there. But it might not have been that way. McAllister might not have been okay on another day, So, yeah, I think he was a bit lenient there, the ref, on Tarkowski, just a bit. But we got the win anyway, and that's what we wanted. Now we can move on to the Fulham game. Hopefully we'll see a bit better football in the Fulham game. The derby, it wasn't a great game, was it? It was never going to be the position we're in and the position Everton are in the table, and then they come to Anfield. There's always going to be a tough assignment, a tight game with not a lot of chances, and that's how it panned out. But we got the win, and that's all we needed. We only needed to win by one, and that's exactly what we've done.
We did, yeah. Very true. Very true. How about for you, JK?
It was just a better all-round display compared to what we were used to in the last two games. You know what I mean? I think it was a game where we were more disciplined. We weren't great, but we weren't poor. I think a lot of the guys were sort of mentally just ready for the game. Like for me, Robertson, Curtis, all these type of guys all stepped up. Didn't really let Everton bully us. You know what I mean? We got bullied in the last two games. I reckon this game we sort of stepped up. It weren't great, I'll tell you the truth, the first half. Second half better. I seen a stat today, we haven't scored many goals in the first 15 minutes of games. Even Everton.
Say that point one more time. I didn't hear that.
We haven't scored many goals in the first 15 minutes of games.
Okay.
Probably about 5, if that. So I was thinking, it's just the way Slot is. I think he's a very cautious guy. We've seen it again. He picked this sort of same team, but Curtis and Keller are coming in because of injuries and stuff. And but other than that, I think Gravenberch was okay. He was better. I noticed. I watched the game again. Gravenberch tried to attack more yesterday. I seen it in the way he was playing. He was trying to shoot, pass through balls. He was doing a bit more, so that was good to see. But I think Szoboszlai weren't great again. Yeah. But I think Jota found his feet second half. He back to his his goal that was Jota in a teacup, the way he just ran through and stuff. So There was a few plus points and stuff. All in all, we got a clean sheet and got a 1-0 win. I'm taking that.
Okay. All right. That what you said was something of a good segue in the sense, because that was my next question, is that should we be concerned, and this is something that I actually did speak on in another episode that's coming up, but should we be concerned about continuing to be second half FC in essence? Is it the slow start something of a concern for you? I'll ask that to the chat. Big up to Callum, by the way, too, and I'll ask that to Brian now that he's joining us.
Sorry. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Lee.
Good evening. Good evening.
My bad.
Best, man.
Yeah.
Best.
Slow start. Yeah, man, we were poor. I don't know if it's like we have a plan not to score in the first half an hour. I hope we don't.
Yeah.
I just think I'm having some concerns about a couple of players, that I wasn't concerned about until recently. And last night's game really, I thought was very poor in terms of, even against a team that was trying so hard to defend, the lack of quality, the lack of creativity, lack of build up. Our midfield couldn't get the ball to our forwards. We had, Diaz is basically the only person kind of, like you pointed out last night. He was getting a lot of the ball last night, and he was just trying to. Him and Robbo were trying to work that flank. Nothing was coming through the middle.
Yeah.
There was nothing from Dom. Mac does a different role, but yeah, I'm starting to be a bit concerned about Dominic Szoboszlai now. Just in terms of he was a bit of a ghost in that game last night. Grav looks to have been a bit rejuvenated, even though they did have international football, but a bit of a break away, because sometimes change is as good as a rest. Going away with your international team can be just as refreshing as taking 2 weeks off. You go away, different pressures, different country, all your old mates, haven't seen them in a while, get to see some family and friends after the games. So that can be as much a mental recharge as much as anything else. And Grav was much more involved last night. But yeah, if we're not, I think scoring early, I think maybe scoring at all, I definitely am, a little bit concerned about. I not so much are we second half FC, but just with our overall kind of lack of real, I don't know, just real creativity right now, genuine creativity through the middle.
Okay. Do you have concerns, Lee?
A little bit. I'm hoping that playing a few more games and getting back into our stride will dispel these this rustiness, get rid of it. But it wasn't a great game. A part of that can be put down to the fact that it was Everton at Anfield. And going by the first game against Everton, we knew they were going to be hard to break down. And it panned out that way. I just hope it changes going forward over the next few games against Fulham, West Ham, and Leicester. Hopefully it will. Hopefully we'll see a return to a little bit more of what we've seen previously. Before we started losing a couple of games in that way.
Right. It is something of a question I thought that should have been, that I hope that we were going to have an answer for, because these slow starts aren't something that's new to this team. It's something that we've seen. A lot of it was the case for us last year. I can say this much: this year, at least, we haven't been, not only second half but comeback, FC. Because a lot of the times when we were going into that second half FC phase of the game, we were at quite a few times trailing in those games, which is something that I don't want to get too comfortable with. But Alexander is saying he wouldn't analyze it too much because Everton were aggressive and were doing their best to make it a fight. Okay. I will agree that they were. I wouldn't. All right. This is it's. I'm saying there might be semantics, I guess, or something. I wouldn't have said they were aggressive in the sense of they seem to sit back, allow for them to park the bus, especially in that back line, and seemingly not press. So when I think of aggressiveness, I think of, you always pressing the ball, being aggressive and trying to win the ball back, and even if it's in your half of the pitch. This is just my interpretation, Alexander. But I can understand what you're saying and saying they were aggressive in the sense of they're aggressive with their game plan in limiting us as to what and where we could attack them on the pitch by trying to dictate where and how those channels would be open and not open. But but that's just my interpretation again. I'll ask you then this follow-up question then. Is Arne Slot's pragmatic approach exactly what we need at this point in the title race, or does he still need to tinker it to get us through these next now 4 games, at least 4 games, or maximum, I should say 4 games that we need to have W's on? Because I know a lot of people are saying 9 games and the likes, or now 8 games. It's more so. It's always been 5 games gets us the title. Now that we've won one of those 5, it's now 4, and that's all considering that. That's considering that also Arsenal wins every game for the rest of the season, which is really, really, really not an easy situation to do. And before I do bring up that question again, big up to Cedric and big up to Dara as well, by the way. But do you think Arne Slot's pragmatic approach is exactly what we need at this point in this title race? I said to JK.
Yeah. Look, bro, I think in the way he's handled the season, he's in a top job. I would say bar that week we had, it's been a perfect season.
Mm-hmm.
But in that week, it was 2 important games. So it don't look great on him. But in the way he's handled the season, I think he's done it the right way because we're sitting pretty at the top with 12-point lead, bro. You know what I mean? We're all miserable. It's kind of funny. I think that week took a lot out of us fans. It was really a sad week, bro. Losing that game against PSG was probably the worst out of the 2 for me because I wanted to really win that Champions League because of that 12-point breathing space we had against Arsenal and whoever. But I think Arne Slot's done it the right way for himself, that he hasn't lost control over it. He's done a slower approach to it, and I think it's worked for him. I think with the years coming up, I definitely want to see more exciting football. We do it in parts in games, and I think the way Diaz and Jota linked up yesterday is the way I want to see football played. You know, that's how you break a low defensive sort of team. You've got to have guys who can do that sort of magic, and I want to see more of that in our football. We're capable of doing it, and I don't think with Slot we do it enough. But he's got the job done. He's getting 3 points in games to win us that Premier League title. So for me, job done. Fair play to him. I think I've said it loads of times now. If he could have that week again against Newcastle and PSG, he'll probably pick the same team again, knowing him. But for me, I think the way you handle games, I want us to do it with a little bit more urgency sometimes, you know, where you're just blowing the opposition out of the game within half an hour. Even Brendan Rodgers did it against, you know.
That's what I said. That's exactly, not to cut you off, I was going to say. That's exactly, I agree. Pedal to the metal, Don't look back. No rear.
Don't
No,
look
no
back.
looking in the rearview mirror. Just like pedal to the metal, straight. Like straight going forward to that finish line.
And us guys are really big fans of Klopp, and we could have used this season to just talk about Klopp all the time. We miss Klopp, this, that, and the other. But we've got respect for Slot because that's the way we do it. But for me, I think sometimes I miss Klopp's.
You can't even say it
Football.
yourself now, too.
You know what I mean? I feel bad.
Like,
I'm gonna have a bad conscience
yeah.
saying it.
Sometimes it gets mixed
but
up. Yeah.
I just feel that he needs to put his foot down sometimes. And I think if he did that against PSG and Newcastle, we would have won both of them games. You know what I mean? If he did then, let's put the foot down tactics in them 2 games, we would have won them 2 games. But all in all, the bigger picture being we're winning the main trophy this season. I know it's Brian's favourite, and it's definitely my favourite this season. I wanted the Premier League because I'm sick of Man United having 20 and us having 19. So us sorting that out is a big thing. It's a big thing, bro. And I don't want to take no credit away from Slot. I want to say, you know what? Fair play to the lad. He's come in first year and won the Premier League. Come on, bro. Like, respect to him for doing
respect.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I did put a poll in there. You could just put 1, 2, or 3, as to who you want to do. I don't have the ability to put the polls, like put a audience poll in there. So I had to make it's an impromptu audience poll.
Yeah.
But I would like to see who everyone thought was the real out of those 3, who was the real influential player of the game, in your opinions. I'd love to hear and see what you guys thought on that one. So I guess it was a story of missed chances and Diego's and Hatz's redemption. Excuse me. It was tense. It was nervy and honestly hard to watch at times. The first half saw Beto almost open the scoring for Everton, and then I say almost twice. It was very interesting, and this is me being transparent, being frank and honest. I would have liked to have seen I always like to see the lines being drawn by VAR when they show offsides. They didn't provide that. They just said, "Hey, he's offsides," and kept it moving. They didn't show it on the screen, but he was one ruled offside, the other rattling the post after a rare Virgil van Dijk error. Salah was strangely quiet yesterday. His first chance came in the 28th minute. What's very interesting about that too, because I was watching the game with Lee. I remember they showed something on there saying it was 0 shots for both teams, and I just remember saying, "Wow, we're 27 minutes deep into this game, and there's been 0 shots so far." But it was but in the 20th minute there was a tame header, easily caught by Pickford. I thought he should have done more with it. I know it's not easy sometimes to really put a lot of pace and put a lot of real emphasis on headers sometimes, despite your efforts. But it was a sitter of a header. He should have done better with it. It was right at the goalkeeper, unfortunately. But in the 57th minute, we as fans finally got our found reason to cheer. Hatta pounced. Gravenberg's initial pass got cut out by Tarkowski, but Diaz showed class to win it back, I think. Might have been overlooked. You can certainly go and look at it yourselves if you're obviously on YouTube, but you might be able to see there was a cool little Google. You know how they do the Google, the Google phone has like some type of contract or some relationship with Liverpool. They give it to people in the crowd, and they actually get some footage, like from the fans' perspective. It was a really, really well-timed and well-documented segment where you get to see a very, very just classy back heel from Diaz to Hata, who absolutely showed some real class himself by doing the in close control to get that shot off. And he just buried it, which was really, really great to see. It's his first goal since January. And I guess it couldn't come at a better time, but maybe it could have. But it was certainly well appreciated that it came yesterday, at least. You know, we can't speak about the past. We can only speak about today. So I'll ask this question though, and it's something because Salah hasn't been his Ballon d'Or level-esque self lately. Should we be worried about Salah's lack of impact in recent games? By the way, Trudon, big up Trudon. Trudon just told us that it's 2-0 in the Chelsea matchup. Trudon has told us that's 2-0. Chelsea's winning in that game currently against Spurs, I believe they're playing. So, but I'll ask this question again. Should we be concerned or worried about Salah's lack of impact in recent games? I'll ask that to Bryant this time.
Natural slowdown would be to be expected. You know, he's been at full tilt for 8 months now. Would it be 8 months? Something like that. You know, well, no, not quite 8 months, but the most is he's been.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. He's been running. You know, at high revs. So once that kind of inevitability of the league being ours, kind of we're walking it home now. I'm not surprised. Is not a decision, just a subconscious thing in the body. Just slows down a little bit, and yeah, he's probably just having a bit of an off period, and he'll get a goal and come back. But no, I'm not hugely worried, but I'm not expecting him to all of a sudden. I think he might be slowing down now towards the end of the season. I don't think he might have another few goals, but I don't think he's going to go on another mad spurt now and get like 8-9 goals and in the next few games and go nuts again. Perhaps not. So his body is probably telling him they've done their work now. He can kind of just operate at a slightly different pace, but he'll still be on the gate. He'll still be on the pitch. He'll still be a problem. He's still only a couple of inches away, or one pass away, or one shot away from a couple of goals over the last couple of games. So, yeah, I just think it was a little bit inevitable. It's kind of, we're on the kind of final lap here, and a few players will have subconsciously, other players will realize that there's a chance for them now to step up and make their mark and have a say in this race too. But no, I'm not really worried about him. Maybe this contract thing as well. Wouldn't be surprised if that was a bit of a distraction. But once you get out on the pitch and you're playing football, you don't have time to think about anything else. There's a ball, there's a guy running at you, and there's a ball coming at you. You don't get to think about the mortgage, or that's why people go and play football at the weekend, because for 90 minutes, you can't think about anything else. All your problems, all your work stuff, it just goes out the window because you're out on the pitch. There's a match to be played. You're not sitting there worrying about the bills or whatever it might be. You go out and forget about life for 90 minutes. So that's what these boys are doing at a higher level when it comes to this contract stuff. I don't think Trent is out there wandering around, on the pitch going, I wonder what Madrid is like at this time of year. No, I don't think it works like that. But it's a bit of a shame maybe, because I think we thought he was going to get to that upper rung on the goal scorer charts. I think he might not now. And he's around 8 away, or whatever he is away. Is it from Lampard? It looks like he might not quite get there. He'd have to pick it up again. So yeah, I'm not worried. And like the boy, like Dara said, he draws. You still see he's got 2 or 3 people on him, at least 2, in scenarios and situations. So it does not really worrying me. No.
Dara, don't worry about the climate here in Phoenix or in Arizona. It will certainly be hot soon enough. Okay. It's just a question. I mean, we did see it's very similar uh, dip in output last year. Um, Albeit last year was also related to injury as well. And then he had to work not only back to get his form and his fitness and form at the same time, but this time he is certainly, um, trying to figure things out again for himself. He had form and fitness for his national team. Certainly, excuse me. He ended up scoring and having assist in, at least I know, one of the games that that he's involved in. But it's just a question. Um, it's a simple question. Also, I'll ask you then this: if we're going to ask this, since we're asking this of our stars, I asked that about Mohamed Salah. I'll ask this of one of my favorite players on the team as well. Did Van Dijk's performance today or yesterday show signs of fatigue, or is there something deeper involved in it? To your analysis, would you say? I'll ask that of Lee.
I don't really think so with Van Dijk. It was just one of them games where there wasn't an awful lot of chances and that, like, we didn't look great, but, all we needed to do was win. And then the two games before that, the two legs against Paris and the Newcastle final, we weren't at our best either. But I'm hoping that we can put that behind us. The form can recover off the back of this derby when. Because the other three games we've got coming up, they're not the strongest opposition. Fulham, West Ham, and Leicester. I'm hoping we can get back to some sort of form there. Yeah, we can create more chances, whatever. But I'm not unduly worried that we've suddenly lost our form and it isn't coming back. I'm not really unduly worried that that's the case. I think we will recover our form. Hopefully, it'll just take a little bit of coaching from Arne, a little bit of time back on the training pitch, whatever, and we should be good to go for the rest of the season. I think. But I thought Virgil was okay. He was made to look a little bit foolish that one time by Beto, but that can happen to any defender. It happens to the best of defenders.
Okay. Do you think that I'll ask this of JK too? And again, your comments in the chat are important as well. So don't if you contest something that we say or something that you want to add or involve yourself in, please do. But I'll ask you this: has Hatta now even more so solidified himself as being in this run, I guess, certainly in this run-in that we have, is he undroppable in a sense? Is he now the number nine that you would go with, despite his inconsistent form?
I would say if he didn't score yesterday, I think it would have been done because he played the two important games we had in that week and he started both. Yesterday, when he scored that goal, bro, I just got flashbacks from the Jota that used to be back in the days, That's the sort of goal he scores. He scores beauties, Jota, He's the type of guy who will dribble past guys like that, little shimmy. A bit like Bobby, like the way Bobby used to do it. I'm going to play Jota again against Fulham. I think a goal always gives a player confidence. The thing with Slot is he'll play a guy, he'll get a couple of goals, he won't play him in the next one. So hopefully he'll play Jota at the start against Fulham, It's it was a long time coming. How many games? 14 games or something, or 11? 11, I think it was. Until he scored. So it was about time. And I'm not worried about Salah, bro, because for me, Salah's been the best player in the world this season. And it comes to a point where with all the noise around him all the time, you're going to have games where you don't really get involved. It's the run of the game. It happens in football. when Haaland came in and he was scoring every game. And then this season, he ain't been really scoring. He's injured now, but it happens to players, where they just go off the boil. But just Salah will get a goal against Fulham. It'll be all right. It happens, bro. But the thing is, lucky enough, yesterday, Salah never got a goal or an assist. Someone else popped up and did it. But the thing was, against PSG and Newcastle, Salah didn't pop up in both of them games.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else did as well. So we've been lucky in that way. Salah's been great this season. And for me, he's allowed to have a few off games. For me, no problem. I ain't gonna really make a big fuss about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna look up something that Hyler just put into, see if I can get an exact quote of the incident. But I'm also gonna drop another audience poll into the chat right now. I'll put this one.
I would have probably gone with Diaz from the first poll.
I would have
Diaz.
I would have too.
Diaz was just
I don't
busy.
think people, when we get to our ratings, I'll let you finish, but when we get to our ratings, you're going to see why there's some players that were certainly not fan favorites on yesterday that should get a little bit more props basically than they were given. But I agree with you. I would have done the same too. I would have given it to I would have given more praise to Diaz.
He made 6 chances yesterday. He got the assist again, so that's another assist for him. It's mad. Ever since we started complaining about his assist, he seems to be getting them now. We need more of that. You know what I mean? That little 1-2. I love football.
Yeah,
where they play 1-2s. Them type of goals, bro. That's the way. And Diaz is capable of doing that. Diaz is a very good player. People don't really realize how good he is because they see football in the way they want to see it. But for me, technically, Diaz does a shift for the team. He's the guy who sweeps up and cleans up and gets the ball and just starts getting things like moving again. You know what I mean? In the right direction. He tracks back quite a lot. He gets stuck in as well. He ain't scared to tackle. So for me, fair play to Diaz yesterday was good.
See, just waiting to see. But on this question, on this audience poll, you can join in too to the panel as well. Who would be your selection on this one?
Who's Barrot at the end?
He's the referee.
What is that his name? Yeah, Barrett. Yeah. Okay. That was his first game at Anfield. He's a young ref, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think
I don't get why they keep doing that too. By the way, I don't understand why they keep giving us referees that have no idea as to what it takes to referee a game like that and throwing them into the lion's den, basically.
Look, bro, the guy got a goal against us to make it 2-2. He's Man United. So when he made that tackle yesterday, he had it written all over his face that he hates us. And that tackle he did on McAllister, his face showed me that. Come on, VAR, God knows what they were looking at. Like, look at the guy's face when he goes into that challenge. That will tell you what he's after. Ridiculous. That's probably one of the worst challenges I've seen in a while. That was like leg breaking sort of. McAllister's, he's a machine, that guy. Fair play to him, man. He's tough. Thank God it was him. Like, if it was someone else, man, they might not have handled it. But McAllister, he's up in about 3-4 minutes, you know what I mean? Ready to go again. So he's a tough little cookie, man. But for me, that challenge, look, if he gets a red card now, can he get a red card from the FA or whatever? Because they got Arsenal on Saturday. So if he gets a red card, for me, they should have said to him, you know what? We made a mistake. That's a red. 6-game ban, because that's dangerous. That's like a 5-6 game ban for me. That was horrible. And if one of our players did that, I'll be a bit pissed off because I wouldn't want our player to be doing that. You know what I mean? Get stuck in, but don't want to break someone's leg and that.
Let's see. Just seeing whatever. Oh, big up Max, by the way. He's joining us as well. I am looking for that the exact quote. Also, let's see, I'm trying to make sure I don't get put on here for all these different things. I hate that. Hate that you have to go through all the. It should just be like you should be able to have like a something on your computer that says reject all cookies. Period. No matter what. Whatever website you go to. Yeah, exactly. Reject all cookies. Period. I'm not interested in your cookies. I'm not interested in trying to sell my likeness to other entities. This says PGMOL acknowledged that Everton defender James Tarkowski should have been issued with a red card in their fixture with Liverpool. The challenge saw Tarkowski clearly play the ball initially. However, the nature of the foul follow-through met the threshold for serious foul play. The referee felt the challenge was reckless in real time, and the VAR then checked that on-field decision of a yellow card, deeming that the referee's call was not a clear and obvious error. However, the view of PGMOL is that a review should have been recommended, and ultimately the original decision overturned. And now it has emerged that Tierney will operate as the VAR for the Manchester Derby at Old Trafford this coming weekend. Despite this acknowledgement, I care less about that. But despite this acknowledgement, Tierney has been assigned to another high-profile fixture rather than facing any temporary removal from his duties. While he was already cast into the role before the Merseyside Derby, the fact that PGMOL have not removed him can be considered a brave move. The decision not to temporarily remove Tierney from high-profile assignments contrasts with previous PGMOL practices. In April 2023, referee Michael Salisbury was axed from the next round of Premier League fixtures after failing to recommend a penalty review in a Brighton match, with PGMOL chief Howard Webb issuing an apology to the affected club. The appointment of Tierney for such a consequential match just days after a widely criticized performance has certainly raised some eyebrows, to say the least. It remains to be seen if the Premier League will opt to remove Tierney ahead of Sunday's clash. I will openly believe that they will not. They probably will not. So again, it somewhat justifies what we were saying yesterday in that the challenge was not only reckless, it was certainly obviously it's been deemed to be the wrong call, plain and simple. It was the wrong call, and it was something that if the referees and the likes are supposed to have the welfare of the players' interest best at hand, and this obviously showed that they did not. And I will have to say that I don't even know. At times, I wonder why Paul Tierney still has a job. To be honest with you, because he is objectively one of the worst referees I've ever seen. Absolutely one of the worst referees.
If Gary Neville's saying in commentary, that's a red card, that's a leg breaker. Like, come on, he's saying it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I
know that people were saying stuff about Duncan Ferguson yesterday.
Even he was saying it, yeah.
Like it's just plain and simple. It's just plain and simple. And look, I don't agree with Max's take on let's give up on bad refereeing. Bad refereeing will lead to injuries. Bad refereeing will lead to discontent and chaos on the pitch. It'll take away from the level of the level of product that you get in the game, period. That is, I think, undeniably and arguable. Because simply, if you don't have competent refereeing, players will take lenience. Will take will be will take steps that will create un unideal circumstances on the pitch, and it's something that we want to see the best product that we can on the pitch. We want to see we want to be entertained. We want to see a good game. We want to see the best from these athletes, but also you might not care about the refereeing, but it is certainly a concern because I want to make sure that it's about getting the right calls, but it's also about the referees making those calls or administering the game so that these players don't end up injured. Very likely, yesterday's tackle could have easily ended up in a result similar to what happened to Virgil van Dijk years ago by Pickford. So you can say that you don't care about the refereeing. In my opinion, I do care about the refereeing. I want to be consistent on both levels, not something that is just in our favor. I'm not asking for that at all. I'm asking for it to be consistent and unbiased and fair for each participant. That's my opinion. So yeah. But yeah. But you guys did. So out of those three, though, what did you guys think? What was your choice for the audience poll, by the way? And I see that we were joined by Lady Southward. Good to see you as well. And big up to Jimmy. Jimmy's in the house. But out of those three, who do you think was the most dangerous on the night? It's a little bit of a funny way of putting it, I know.
Yeah, probably Barrett. Probably the ref.
After having said that, yeah, no.
Okay.
To me,
Enough, but to let him get away with it was even more dangerous.
Swarovski, for me, that tackle was just a tackle full of hate for Liverpool. Yeah. That was for me the danger. Like the referee, I don't know, he wasn't great, but for me, that player who committed that foul, out of control that was.
Yeah, my initial word to describe it was evil. That it was an evil challenge. Just from just the first time, my first look at it, my first look at the replay, I just looked at it the first time, went, oh, that was evil. That, and it was like, it was a little bit strong, maybe to call it evil, but where I'm coming from, it was a nasty, nasty bit of work. That tackle, wasn't it?
I thought that yesterday also, like I spoke on, symbolized the real importance of a player that often gets, undervalued, underappreciated. And that player I'm speaking on is our Colombian brethren, Lucho. I thought that there were times that he was really, really brilliant with some of his approaches and holding the line. I would say Lucho, take a bow because he created 6 chances, the most by any player in the derby yesterday. That's the most by any player in this derby since 2017. So he created the most chances yesterday in this derby in the last 8 years. He's been, in my opinion, he has been electric, at times relentless, ultimately a difference maker, in my opinion. But there was a brief VAR scare for offsides in the build-up play of Hata's goal, but by the letter of the law, and also not only by the letter of law, but also simply by the fact that he made no effort, no movement towards trying to play the ball or make himself, involved in the play until he was back on sides. I just thought Diaz, he wasn't interfering with the play at all. It made a difference. Man. There was a few disciplinary flare-ups too. Hata sarcastically clapped the free kick, clapped, kick call that got him a yellow card, and he was very, very intimate about it. He could have gotten possibly even a red card eventually from some of his antics. I'm glad that he didn't, obviously. But referee Barrett kept his cards pocketed. Liverpool kept their composure late on, obviously, even as Everton ramped up the pressure with a series of set pieces. Look, we all know that that's what they're good at. And that's why it was certainly serious, something that we've spoken on quite a few times, something we're going to have another episode in the future on. And that is, look, we were fortunate. We had 73.8% of the possession. We had 17 shots to Everton's 5. There were 0 shots on target for the Blues. I know that they hit the post on 1, but that still gets written down as a missed attempt on target. It wasn't dominant on the scoreboard, but the stats told a clear story. I'll ask you this. Was Hata lucky not to be sent off for dissent in his little bit? I mean, because he not only went at it at this, at the official on the sideline, but he also went, or the linesman, but he also went at it by mocking the referee with the clapping and all.
Yeah, it was well deserved, bro. He was getting. It was just messy.
Yeah.
The way but for me, Jota he was right to do that, because that referee, that was all wrong. The linesman didn't even do nothing. He just throw into us, the other team.
Yeah, it was a throw-in. That's all it was. Yeah.
And then Diaz, bro.
I think he was right. I think it did hit off of the other player, to be honest with you.
It did. And for me, Diaz was offside for the goal, our goal. I'd be gutted if that was given against us, because for me, the way Diaz was positioned, that the guy, Swarovski, the way he slid across, would he have done that if he weren't there? I'm not sure. So for me, he's offside. And we got away with it.
So wait. The thing about that is this. One, players can be offsides. Okay. So he was offsides. I get it. But he can't just push a button and disappear and reappear on sides, or make himself not be there.
That's when you get back in it.
I know. I'm gonna land. But why I'm saying that he was not offsides is because as long as you're holding the line, if the ball's being played into him, and I get it, it's natural for you to react to say, I've got to get this through. I don't want to chance him being onside. Maybe there's another player playing him onside. You don't know that, or maybe you should, but you don't know that, right? However, if the ball is played to Diaz, and he makes an attempt to the ball or goes for the ball, that's offsides. Simple as does. But he has every right to be there. People make runs all the time that might draw them off sides. They have to get back on sides. As long as they're not making a play making an effort to make a play towards the ball, they have every right to be, quote unquote, in the play, or somewhere near the play. They don't have to run to the sideline and try to get out of the way because they're off sides, So I get what you're saying, but I think that and I'm not just saying it because it's our player, but that's just the rules,
We've seen it with Salah, didn't we, earlier in the season, where Salah was offside, and if he'd have run down the wing and followed the ball, he'd have been offside, but he didn't. He ran the other way, and let someone else who was behind the play, run onto the ball, and then picked him out in the middle. I think that was away to West Ham.
Yeah. Wasn't he offsides in that though? Or was he offside or on?
He would have been if he'd went for the ball on the wing, but he was going to go for the ball on the wing, but then he realised, oh, I'm offside, so he didn't, and he ran away to the opposite direction from the play and into the box. Someone else was coming up on the outside, weren't they, on the right way? It was probably Trent, and they ran in, put it into the box, and he was in the box, wasn't he, when the shake-up came and he got a goal.
Right.
But, yeah, because that was an interesting one. That was dissected on Match of the Day, etc., and on Ref Watch and all that. And they were like, that's okay. He didn't go towards the ball. He didn't make any movement towards the ball. He was about to. You could see it was in his mind to do it.
Right.
He thought, hang on, I'm offside here. I won't do this.
And on top of that, the thing about it is simple, is this. That results in a goal. If he was to play the ball, or if he was a part of the play or made any type of effort to go towards the play, it's getting reviewed. That's just I know. I'm not trying to.
Yesterday's one was a bit different in that the ball was played towards where Diaz was. But at the end of the day, he did not move towards it. And yes, it did affect what Tarkowski did, but that's on him. That isn't on Lucho.
Where is it that? See, people are talking about the Pickford foul on Nunez. I thought that it was unique. I think that unfortunately for the referee, because unfortunately McAllister pushing Darwin back onto the pitch, and thus resulting in him getting a yellow card. It probably took away the emphasis, maybe even the memory of the fact that Pickford should have gotten a yellow card for his kick at his dangerous play against Darwin Nunez too. I don't know if you agree. Do you agree with that one, JK?
Can you repeat that again?
I was saying that because the referee had to end up giving a yellow card to Nunez for coming back on the pitch after being injured off the pitch. He then didn't give a yellow card to Pickford. He ended up giving it to just Darwin. Yeah. Whereas he probably should have given, even if you are going to give one to Darwin, he probably should have gave one to Darwin and then turned around and gave one to Pickford for the reckless.
He's reckless, Yeah. That was pretty bad as well.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Look at Pickford's face and look at Zaborski's face when they go into both challenges. Full of hate. Like you can just see it in their face. If you watch the game back, put Pickford's face and the other lad's face, and that tells you everything you need to know. Horrible team, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you back with us, Brian, by any chance, or?
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Okay. I saw you leave and then come back. I don't know if you're.
No, I came back. All your mics sounded like shit to me, so it couldn't have been all of you. So I just left and came back for a second.
I got you. Understood. So yeah. Is 1-0 a fair result from yesterday? Do you think? Do you think that, Brian? Do you think 1-0 was a fair result for us, or do you think that we were fortunate to get that result, or maybe even Everton was hard done to end up with that result?
Well, was it a fair result for us? Yeah. Look, Diaz had a great game. Yeah, had a good game yesterday. One of his better games. Create 6 chances, but can anyone really remember us opening them up 6 times No, this is the criticism of Diaz. I mean, it wasn't that kind of game. You think, oh, we had 6 big chances, that's. But yeah, like as involved as he was, and just us as a team, we didn't create a lot. So I wouldn't say like we were lucky to get the win, but we didn't really deserve more than 1 or 2 goals max. The goal we worked was really well worked. But other than that, bits and pieces type chances. And they, on another day, I mean, Beto, 6 inches, 4 inches, maybe even, either way. And they're 1 up. So they could say they're a bit unlucky, but they should have had a man sent off. So I think with all the kind of shenanigans that went on, yeah, I think it was a fair result because you couldn't be watching that going, oh, we could have had 3 or 4 in that. You could barely say, oh, we would have had 2. It's like, yeah. So we kind of allowed them to do what they do, but some of that I think was down to a lack of guile from us, a lack of creativity from us, and them just being, like the boys are saying earlier on, like aggressive, in a different way. Like you said, not aggressive by aggressively kind of running forward, but in their moments when they needed to be, they were very, very aggressive. And Tarkowski took that obviously a step too far. But when the moment came, yeah, when they needed to be up against that, so really kind of. But I didn't even think it was a great version of one of those games, a kind of blood and thunder. If you want pretty football, go somewhere else this afternoon because this is Everton versus Liverpool. It's going to be a war. Wasn't even really that. So, but you got to take it. Fair, yeah, I suppose fair enough. Like Lee said, a 1-0. I said a 2-1 in terms of I can see us beating them by a goal, but there won't be much in it. Very much like that. So you could kind of see it coming. But we should really get used to this now with Merseyside derbies. They're always going to be like this. Even maybe it might be a bit different when they're at their new place or something, but when they come to Anfield, even if they're 18th and we're first, it's always just one of these games.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as you've got people like Moyes around and players like your Tarkovsky around, you're going to have games like this. It'll always be like this. So just good to get out with 3 points, put that 12-point thing, all the little, ooh, look, it's 9 now. Ooh, Arsenal win. Ooh, you still have to be that, that little, so what do you think? Are you going to bottle it? They wanted us to think. So, yeah, 3 points was absolutely huge. And that's what we got. So.
I'm just glad the derby's out the way now that both of them have played this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I didn't know there was another Manchester derby to go. I didn't know it was the Manchester derby this weekend. So Tierney's got a day out there as well, has he?
Yes, yeah.
As well as his VAR day out at Anfield.
Yeah. Let me double check for you. See what the games are this weekend. Yeah, Manchester United, Manchester City, on Sunday.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
Our actually games
on
quite winnable. Like,
so in 3 days. In 3 days. So it's Sunday. I think it's Sunday. It's the late game. So it's like the late game. And it's at Old Trafford, Old Toilet. So
we do get a week, don't we, between the Fulham and the West Ham game? There'll be a week's rest between the Fulham and West Ham game, won't be? And then until the end of the season, it's pretty much a game. It's like that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, just one game a week. Yeah, nothing else to be done. Because Champions League will be back, so there'll be midweek games, and we'll just be kicking our heels at home, getting a few days rest. So, I mean, they'll want to be in it, but if nothing else, there's that.
Yeah. Hey, look, we all wanted the lead, didn't we? And hopefully that's what we're going to get, and it looks like we're going to get. So if we can sort our form out and get back to some slightly more dominant displays, like we were seeing a few months ago, then all good. I mean, even if we can't, if we still win it just like, by squeaking through games till the end of the season, I'll be happy enough with that, as long as, we're getting wins. But it would be nice to see some, what's the word, but bingo performances, standout performances, like, signpost performances till the end of the season, like, so ones we can remember. I wouldn't mind seeing at least 2 of them before the season's end,
At least something for the
statement performances is what I meant to say, to show what a good side we are.
Well, keep an eye on Leicester. That'll be the one for me. If we feel like it, and if we're in the mood and we're fit and fresh, one of the worst. This Leicester team is just, I think that's now 5 games in a row, 0 wins, 0 points, obviously, 0 goals, 5 games in a row without scoring, 5 straight defeats, at least 5, or they're on 7. So if we're in the mood and we want to go out and, score a few, more than the usual 2, that Leicester could be the place to go and do it. Go and fill your boots, lads. Go and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
No offense, Ant, if you're out there listening. No offense. I'm expecting to pop in there, like, what was that? But no offense, man. I think he's a very realistic guy. He'd probably be expecting the same. He'd probably expect us to be 4-0.
It's a very interesting map. I saw that there was an Opta reference earlier in the show from Hylor saying, according to OptaStat, Gravenberch has become the youngest Liverpool player to start all of their opening 30 league matches in a season since Robbie Fowler in 1994 and 95.
Interesting. It's been 30 years since anyone that young started first 30. Yeah, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
What's Grav now? 22, is it?
I believe so. I'll check for you. Gravenberch is... He's 22, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Will he start all the others?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Will he go the whole season? I'd be interested.
Yeah, there is also... This is interesting, too. This is showing you right here. This is showing you all the passes that you're saying as well. You're saying about how all passes. You'll notice that there's a trend here. A lot of these passes are from Lucho. These are some of the 6 that we were talking about on the pitch yesterday that he actually got off. Couple definitely good ones in there. He had a couple of different crosses that actually ended up being very good crosses as well. But I was going to also get into the player rating portion that we wanted to do. As I pulled this someone up for us, I was going to say yesterday, some fun facts about yesterday for everyone out there. Did you know that this was Liverpool's first 1-0 home win in the league since May 2023? That's pretty wild. This was our first 1-0 home win in the league since May 2023. That's 8 different seasons.
I've been saying that all year. We don't win 1-0. I've been saying that all season when we're doing our previews. We don't win 1-0. We haven't won a game 1-0 in about 10 years. So yeah, it's good to know that it is actually that long. That is, yeah, it's weird. We just don't do it. We don't do 1-0s.
Yeah, in the league at least. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, in the league. Yeah.
Right. As for Everton, that's just their that's 8 different winning score lines at Anfield in the time since. So there was a rare low scoring. This was a rare low scoring affair. Also, as for Everton, that's just their second league defeat since David Moyes returned. Not a bad run, but it ends with the bitter taste of the Derby defeat. Bon appetit. And what about Mo Salah? After scoring in 8 straight appearances earlier this year, he's now got just 2 goals in his last 6, and both were penalties. Again, the reason why I asked earlier, is that fatigue or is that something off with the Egyptian king? It has to be certainly a question that you could ask in our conversations because he was on such an incredible streak earlier this year. He's now gone on somewhat of a hiatus in scoring, wherein the only 2 goals he has are both by penalties. So,
Don't know my favorite stat from yesterday.
What's that?
David Moyes has managed more games at Anfield than Arne Slot has, and he's still never won one.
That's a great one.
That's a cracking stat, that. That's first class.
That's a great one. Yeah.
One day, David, Joe Gomez will score a goal. You'll win a game at Anfield, and hell will freeze over. That'll be how it goes.
One day. All right, let's get into this real quick so we can get through these. We're going to try to go through these as quick as possible. And we're going to allow for your ratings to count as well, but try to get them in as quick as possible. We're going to try to go through these rapid fire, just so you know. All right, player ratings. Jose is asking us, can you hear what Hata is cooking? Jose is Diego's middle name, in case people are wondering why I called him Jose. All right. So let's begin with Kelleher. Didn't have a save to make, but was sensible with the ball. Was lucky that Beto was offside, and on another occasion, you could argue Beto made the wrong choice in shot, but I will give him credit for cutting off the angle to make him do so. What was your rating for him? Alexander's given him an 80. Jimmy's given him an 80 as well. Okay, or an 8. Okay.
Yeah, what crazy metric are you using today? Is it exam scores, SAT?
I was just using exam scores. Yeah, I didn't even put the pluses or minuses in it. But I'm going with what the people do. 7.5 from Abdul. Okay. All right. I thought Kelleher did well. I didn't have him at a B because he didn't have anything to do. I had him at a C for his rating. So 77 from Hylor. Okay.
I'll give him an 80, bro. Clean sheet. Good with his feet. That's what I like about Kelleher. He's very good with his feet, bro. Look at the passes he was making to the middle.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Very good. Very good.
There's an argument to say that Kelleher is better with his feet than Ali is.
Listen, seems a bit more relaxed when he does it. I noticed that.
All right. So,
his long distribution is good.
Yeah. I'll let Lee knock out this one with the group. Curtis Jones has potential. There's an interesting piece. I'm gonna go blank on his name, and I watch his show quite a bit actually. But he did a breakdown on. I'll look it up in a second. But he did. There's a really good YouTuber out there. He does breakdowns. He did a breakdown on yesterday on Curtis Jones, and the question was, have we possibly found a right back of the future in Curtis Jones? That's at least the angle of what he was going with his segment. I do agree that he has the potential to be an asset, but left too much space at times behind him by pressing forward and against the wrong team. It could be exploited. giving him a slight boost though in his grade because this role is relatively new to him, and he was filling in a pinch. So, what did you have, Curtis? I see Alexander had him at a 70. Abdul had him at a 70 or 7. What did you have Curtis Jones at, Lee?
I thought he did what he needed to do. He did his job well enough. He did what was asked of him. We kept a clean sheet. I'll probably give him, I don't know, like out of 100 rather than giving him just an 8. I'd give him like 82, something like out of 100 for making a good fist of his. Is the first time I've asked him, having him at right back, because we've never seen it before. So we have to keep that in mind. He's never played the position for us before, not in the Premier League anyway, or at first team level. And I thought he did everything he needed to do, much like Kelleher. They both did what was needed of them. They were there when they were called upon. Yeah, because it was quite, it was a decent show.
Yeah.
We have to bear in mind that he isn't a right back. So that's why I'm
Could
giving
you
him
convert all those thoughts to a number?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I would say 82 out of 100.
Nice.
Okay. So a B rating. I got you. Understood. All right. B. There was it looked like the consensus was like a C, like a 70s, 7, a lot of 7s in there. I gave him a 72 as well. I gave him a 7 out of 10. All right. How about for this one's for Brian in the chat. How about for Ibu? Ibu's situation yesterday looked shaky whenever Everton burst forward with some pace, but in a game that he could have used his Hulk Ibu smash techniques like his counterparts on Everton were doing, he was somewhat passive in that retribute. So maybe that's just him trying to get control, trying to get his Dr. Banner style control of controlling his rage. But let's see what you have for Ibu. And Brian, what did you have for Ibu?
It didn't really, didn't really stick out in any way other than one time when he went up. So, yeah, he kind of, like he a bit of a nothing game, really. 60. I'll go 60.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's just getting like 6s. He's getting a 7.5. He got 6.9, so it's close to a 7 from Hylor. Got a 70 out of Jimmy. Okay. And you gave him,
like you said,
I'll be honest with you. I gave. Oops, that's Curtis.
He imposed himself on the game.
I gave him the same grade you did. I gave him a D grade as well yesterday. Lovely Ibu. I know that's Lady Southward's that's one of Lady Southward's favorites.
Here we go.
No, he's getting 10 out of 10.
There you go. I like it. There you go.
I did like his interview though. I know it was a crappy one to put it up, but it showed a bit of personality. He was kind of joking about the whole every time he plays well, and VVD always gets man of the match, and he was having a bit of a crack about that, but next game he goes out and he puts in a total stinker. It's like, yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. All right. Next on the list here, Virgil van Dijk. I'll take this one since I know possibly this will be it's better that is from family instead of that he hears this. But I had Virgil van Dijk. I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. This was my grade for Virgil. I gave him a failing grade yesterday. I thought he was definitely not his normal pristine self, but everyone else has high grades for him. Okay. Looking at like 7s and 70s. Okay. 70 out of 100, a 72 out of 100, 7 out of 10 for Abdul. I'll tell you that. Give me 1 second. I rated him. I rated him poorly, primarily because of the mistakes that he had that almost led to Everton. If that was a better forward, if that was Isak, or if that was Holland, or that was, even maybe even trying to think of who else I would put in that little case. But I just thought that he if they had a better, because I wouldn't say Calvert Lewin, if that was a little better finisher when it comes to their striker in front, that could have been problems for us yesterday. And considering that we saw him have a bad outing against Isak, and now, we let the two of those situations with them. I got you. She gives so 70. All right. There's a lot of high grades. I'm gonna get you those ratings though. You want the statistics on him, on Virgil. Virgil was 6 out of 10 for aerial duels, 3 out of 6 for his ground duels.
Really? And 2 of those are on Beto when he's running through, I reckon.
Yep.
So,
And that's why I had that. I mean, we were fortunate that Beto isn't clinical.
yeah, but the first one where it's not the one where he hits the post.
I
But
thought he
the
was
first one,
onside, to be honest with you.
well, I know, but I mean, anyway, if he had been onside the first one, if it's just a slightly better ball from Decore,
Mhm.
Decore just kind of puts a weird little ball in half a second too late. If he played it a little bit straighter and a tiny bit earlier,
Mhm.
it would have been a much better chance. I thought like they were in there. It was Decore messed it up.
Mhm.
But yeah, he spun the 2 lads. I mean, he's a massive handful.
He's a unit, definitely. He's definitely
Yeah,
huge.
that's the thing. He's
Yeah.
Barcelona going to come up against him like too often, but he lost those physical battles. Well, he lost a few of them anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's James Lawrence Alcott that I was thinking of too, by the way. I'd have to. I'm seeing if I can find the actual video that I was speaking on, where he did an actual breakdown on how he thinks that he really liked Curtis Jones at the right back position. It was a very interesting piece, actually. And it was very interesting the way that he was doing a lot. He diagrammed on the triangles that he created and how a lot of the times Curtis Jones created opportunities for Gravenberg to get more involved in the offense yesterday, even McAllister occasionally to do the same. And it was a very interesting perspective. And James Lawrence Alcott is a very talented YouTube presenter, by the way. QPR fan, I think he is. I think he's a QPR fan, by the way. All right. Well, then let's move on. Let's move on. I see everyone wants to bump. We'd have to, I guess, bump them up to like a D rating. I'll split the difference with.
Well, I think you get away with 70. A lot of them were 70s, and I gave him a low score, and you gave him a low score. So
Yeah.
and Alexander went down to a 4.
Yeah. He reevaluated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is rightfully so, man. Virgil needs to step it up, I guess. He knows what is going on. I also thought that Virgil got fouled by Beto, and Beto shouldn't have even been in the game. Actually, he was getting away with murder. Andrew Robertson. I should have saved this one for myself because I wanted to say something, but had a woeful shot, but had a couple of inviting crosses. I thought that this was I think JK thinks that along. I'm not trying to speak for JK, but I think he also mentioned it yesterday about this could have been a slight flashback to the old Robbo. He was 5 for 5 for ground duels. He was 90% passing. He had 2 out of 2 on his dribble, his successful dribbles. Was dribbled past 0 times and had 76 touches, meaning he was involved in the game. What was your perspective on Robbo? I'll let JK speak for himself. What was your perspective?
The best game I've seen him play all season. No mistakes, concentration, bombing forward. I don't think Dara think he was great yesterday, but for me,
Right.
the way Robertson's been this season, I think you know what it is sometimes with football player fans is that when a player's going through a rough patch, the next game that he comes in and he's sort of better than what he's been is a good sign. And I think Robertson and Gravenberch went great yesterday, but he's an improvement than what he was before he went on international duty. So hence why I was okay with him and Gravenberch. But for me, Robertson yesterday, I'm going to give him I'll give him an 85.
Okay.
He
Abdul
stepped
gave him
up.
a 7 out of 10. Jimmy gave him a 70. Lay Southport gave him a 7 out of 10. Alexander gave him a 7.5 out of 10. Robbo Diaz Link was back. It was the left side of our it's going to be interesting what we figure and find out how we're going to re-engineer our right side. We've been right hand dominant lately, or usually, but just recently in this game in particular, we were certainly more left-hand dominant in the sense that we were on the left side more so than the right. But yeah, the Robbo Diaz link was very, very good yesterday. I thought it was definitely good. I agree with everyone though. I gave him a C as his rating. All right, well, let's move into the midfield. See if I can get this thing to. Oops. Let's see if we can get it to work. All right. Midfield, Grav, Lee, you are up, my friend. You are up. Grav had a tough time sometimes finding a way through with runs or passes occasionally, but there were glimpses of times when Gravy looked like his old self, in my opinion, like when he tested Pickford with a really, really well taken shot. He had two shots actually that were decent. One that deflected and was a fortunate deflection for Pickford, and the other one was it was what it was. But what was your rating for Gravy?
I think he tried to find bits of room, didn't he? Tried to find bits of space to operate in, but it was tough going for all the midfielders really to find room to play in yesterday. I don't know. I'll give him an 80.
Okay. Just waiting for some of the other scores to roll in as well. Also going to give Duel little props on the question that he just asked.
I think he was reasonable yesterday, Ryan.
7.5. Gravy got 75 from Jimmy. 7.5. Yeah, everyone gave him basically a C. That's what I gave him as well. All right. How about for the man who nearly saw himself being carted off on a stretcher practically? I'm surprised. He is definitely Rocky Balboa for us. I mean, sometimes the way that this guy, takes a licking and keeps on ticking is pretty impressive. Macca, let's go with Brian on this one. I know he loves himself some Macca. Escaped a bad injury from Tarkowski's tackle and made a few good tackles of his own. What were you going to give McAllister yesterday?
Well, it is hard not to give him a good score because of just being that guy as per usual. The one that just always seems to be the guy that takes the hit. But also then in general play, probably not a huge amount creatively, offensively.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But he had a hell of a job on his hands, but it's hard not to just basically say, Jesus, 80 just for staying on the pitch,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's made of. Like we all
Titanium.
know. Oh yeah, look, we all know we don't need to name names. But there are certain players out there, not just Liverpool players, ex-Liverpool players, plenty of players out there where if they got hit like that, it's good. And if you're not seeing them for 3 months, you're these guys that they're going to be like, yeah, I need a retreat in the mall leaves.
Yeah.
They're
You're
they're
not getting that nanny
straight off.
quote. You're not getting that. He's crying. You're not getting that.
Straight off the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mac is like, give me 30 seconds, I'll be good. Absolutely. He just,
Right.
those legs, man, they must be made of titanium. It's just ridiculous the knocks he takes. But then, so what you do after that? Like, so it is difficult one that I've been handed. So I'll give him a 75. So that, I don't know what, but to me, if I was giving him a letter grade, I'd be giving him a B. It'd be a B, not a C.
I gave him a
plus,
C, but you gave him a B. Okay, I'll bump
yeah,
that.
just for taking that hit.
The majority of people out there gave him gave him a B. Basically, gave him 8 out of 10 from Abdul, 8 from Lay Southward, 80 from Jimmy, 69 from Max. Okay. All right. I'm not sure if Alexander's that was for before or for this one, but I think he gave him a 6.5. We got you. So B it is. How about for Dominic? Oof. I don't really want to have to deal with this one. Dom's my guy, but Dom. Statistically, Dom was the second worst stat-wise on the team yesterday.
Yeah, and on the eye as well.
I don't think we need the internet to tell us, unfortunately.
Yeah. I told us everything about that. Terrible. 3 games in a row, he's just been non-existent. I'd bench him. Give him a bit of the bench life. See what he's like on that side. Get him have a bit of drive in him again.
Maybe Dom needs to just finally get it out of his system. Comes up with end the beef. Get the rap battle with Arda Guler out of his system, and then focus back on football. No, I joke. I'm just kidding. He's been a little bit testy since that exchange, but some would even argue that he's been a little bit under expectations even before then. 35, 3.5, 4. Ow, ouch. Dom gets no love. No love whatsoever.
Oh, you can't say he had a better game than Virgil. You gave Virgil an F.
Yeah, true. No doubt. I know he doesn't have that on his registry for his wedding registry, but all right, cool. Yeah, wow. D for him. Jimmy gave him a 50 or 5 out of 10. Wow. I mean, Max gave Virgil 2.5 or 25 out of 100. So, all right. Well, I'm not going to rate him this one, even though I did. I'm not going to be. I'll leave this to JK. But Mohamed Salah was kept quiet and went missing most of the game. Surprisingly, had 62 touches in the game. You probably don't remember half of the touches though, because he was 0 for 5 successful dribbles, 2 out of 10 for ground duels, 1 out of 4 for aerial duels, and was even offsides on a run of play that he didn't even have to be offsides for. Like he literally was just, I think, so anxious to try to get an opportunity that he went offside, that he he exerted himself on the run too early, maybe out of frustration. Salah what was your grade for Salah?
I think most of the game he was really manhandled. Like he had guys jumping on him and everything. So you got to expect that he's the best player in the world. You're gonna get two guys jumping on you all game, and sometimes people forget that he gets dealt with. Out of all the players in our team, he's the guy who gets the most attention from their defense, and that sort of slows him down. So it works to a level. And for me, he's got enough credit in the bank to go through a phase where he's not great. So for me, I got no problem with Salah. But for me, yesterday, for him battling away second half, I'll give him a 40 out of 10, 40 out of 100. Yeah.
It hurts to say that, but yeah, I think he was a failing grade yesterday, and it looks like the chat agrees with you. 3.5 from Alexander, 6 out of 10 from Abdul, 5 for the King from Lady Southward.
Max minus 50.
Yes. Yeah.
Drop him for the next game. He ain't playing next game.
Yeah, he's given a bid minus 50. He said, "Where's my change?"
You want to leave on a free? You can go tomorrow.
Yeah. A 5 from Jimmy. Yeah, it's legit. I think that unfortunately, two of our biggest stars getting bad grades there. Some would argue one of the better players on the pitch. His first goal since, like I said, mid-January, and in classic Hatta style, a wee little dance between the defenders before tucking it in nicely. The beleaguered forward finally had his moment, and statistically, he was not great. But the bottom line is he was great when we needed him to be and got the game winner. And it was a well-taken goal. I'm going to be 100% honest. That was a well-taken goal. Lee, what's your grade for Mr. Hatta, the Slata, the Shata? Andada.
85 out of 100.
Okay, 85 out of 100. I know Max is ruthless. He is. He scored the winner, so she gives him a 10. Okay. Alexander gave him an 8 out of 10. Okay, yeah. It goes along with the B that Lee just gave him. Abdul gave him a 7.5, minus 0.5. Oh wait, twisting and turning, and he is a number 10. Okay, 5. It was a 5-a-side style goal. Okay, I got you. Now I understand. Jimmy gave him a 75. Okay, out of 100. Got you.
In the second half, he just looked a bit more eager that he wanted to get involved, and you can just see it in his body language. Second half compared to say the other games he's been playing. Second half,
I agree.
He just looked like he clicked. Something happened, and that goal, bro. It was just.
I think it was a lot just let off his shoulders. You know, the weight was like let off his shoulders with that goal a little bit.
Yeah. And I said before the game, I said, bro, one guy who will want to get a goal. If we get one goal, I want it to be Yota, just for him. And he was, yeah. So I'm happy about that.
I've been putting his image in my background, simply trying to get the universe to try to get him a goal because he needed it.
Yeah.
He needed it. He definitely needed it.
Well, I hope the goal yesterday heralds the beginning of a purple patch until the season's end. You know, so we can have like quite a few goals before the season's end. Hopefully, Jota. We've not seen many for a while, have we? Man, that was his first one in ages, wasn't it?
Yeah. You got 75 from Jimmy, 71. Oh wow, from Max, 8 out of 10 from Alexander. Okay. All right, for Lucho, Luis Diaz, chased a lot down, put massive pressure on Everton, who had to double, sometimes triple team him. as honestly, he's the best, in my opinion, he's the best individual creative attacker on the ball we have. And he eventually broke the deadlock by finding Hata for the opener and the game winner and the lone goal of the game with a really, really, depth of skill showing a back heel pass. Diaz was the focal point of our offense yesterday against a stingy low block that refused to come out of its shell. He had 82 touches. 82 touches yesterday. He was 91% passing. 8 out of 10 for his ground duels. 5 out of 6 successful dribble attempts. And most importantly, had the game-winning assist. Lucho put in a real shift yesterday. He put in a really, really good shift. And I think those statistics really show that he did. I'm going to ask Brian, what was his rating for Lucho? I think you went last time, right, Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it is me. Yeah.
Yep.
If it's basically the best of what we had out there. It'd be awesome to see. We've never doubted the ground jewels bit and the hard work bit and all that, but just
I'm sorry.
a little bit of that little bit of class in the middle. Just every now and again, a little bit more. That'd be nice to see. But no, he absolutely did his job. I think with Jones on the right, tucking in a bit more, then we were getting all our width from him and Robbo, and they did brilliant. So 85, I think, is a fair score. 85.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had him at a B as well yesterday. Looks like Santa gave him a 7 out of 10. Jimmy gave him a 80 out of 100. Lady Southport gave him an 8 out of 10. Max said his 82 touches were 82 times of him hogging the ball. I'm sorry. Oh, wow. Oh, Max is definitely comedy gold sometimes. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Diaz, 82, showed his high level of football IQ in the second half to remain static when offside before bursting into life to cushion a deft flick into the path of Hata for the goal. That goal was, I don't know if I know Lee saw it because we were talking about it, but you guys, I shared the clip. Did you see that little, for both parts of the goal were phenomenal. It was an excellent goal, I thought.
Lovely flick from Diaz.
I've seen it from multiple angles at this stage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I didn't see the
that
phone camera one. But I've seen it. Seen about 12 times now. I think this.
Okay.
Different angles. Yeah. Like I said, stuck out like a sore thumb in the game. Little moment of quality, real quality. So more of that, please.
Yeah.
More of that.
Abdul says Diaz performance is rated 6 out. He gave him a rating of 6.5 out of 10. He requires improvement in final product delivery, physical play, link-up play, and game control. Wow, needs to improve on everything. Okay. Switches around.
Abdul's lists always tend to be quite comprehensive in terms of.
Yeah. All right. We only have one player that we're going to have to rate in this one in substitutes because out of the 3 substitutes used, only and I'll make sure what time you got involved in the game too. I think only Nunez really got in with time to really make a difference. Nunez came in for Hata in the 75th minute. But the other substitutes came in the 86th, and the other one came in on the 93rd minute. So, it wasn't really much that you could do about that. So the only one I had rating on here was Darwin. Look, he was ended up in a tangle with Pickford at the end, got a yellow card after Macker rolled him onto the pitch after being fouled, but not called by the absolutely abysmal refereeing performance by Samuel Barrett and the VAR refereeing of Tierney. And I gave Darwin a C rating. So I'm looking to see what everyone else gave him in the chat. Because we're not going to rate Cody, and I'm not going to rate. Cody had no time to make an impact. I thought personally for Cody, I don't think he was the right sub to have been brought on, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Marion. Endo the same on in stoppage time to see the game out. But honestly, again, like I said, I think he should have been substituted in earlier. I would have substituted Endo in rather than Cody initially when he got subbed in, possibly even earlier than that, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion. So we didn't give ratings for Endo or Cody, but shout out to both of them for their play. And this is for the coach evaluation yesterday. Let's get this one. I'll allow for everyone to get a rating for this one. JK, what was your coach evaluation yesterday?
You seem to got it right with Curtis, that right back. So that was a good move.
Worked out. Yeah, worked out.
And he stuck to his stubbornness by picking the same sort of midfield, defense, attack, whatever it was. So for me, it sort of worked for him yesterday. Second half, we just looked better. I'll give him a 7 out of 10 for yesterday. I just feel I'm waiting for him to excite the fans with a better, fast, furious football.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If I had a choice between fast, furious football and the Premier League title, I'm taking the Premier League title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if we win 1-0 all
right.
season and play boring. As long as we get the job done, you know?
If you squint, I can maybe see the Vin Diesel in him. Okay, I get you. Lee, what's your rating for our slot machine? Fast and Furious?
6.5.
6.5. All right. Brian, what was your rating?
Got his calls right. Jones worked. Jota worked. Yeah, got all his calls right. So won the game, clean sheet. Didn't get sent off, which is nice.
There you go.
So
and he could have, because he was pretty angry. He was angry about that the Macca challenge, but he was reserved with how he approached it. You could see that he knew that he couldn't be
rightly so.
about it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you got the subs correct. Well, you can call it correct. You know, we won the games. Yeah, it got to be 75. 75.
Yeah, Marion gave him a 55.5. Jimmy gave him a 70 out of 100. I gave him a C as well. I think that goes along with a lot of what everyone's putting in there. Yeah. 75 from Hylor. Okay. Well, brings us to the best part of the show, which is the man of the match. Who was your man of the match? Definitely. Diaz gets a shout from Cedric. Okay. Brian, who was your man of the match? Just rapid fire. Who was your man of the match?
Rapid fire. Okay, Diaz.
Okay. Rapid fire, Lee. Who's your man of the match?
Diaz for the backflip to Jota.
Okay. Rapid fire. Who was your man of the match? JK.
Yeah, Diaz as well.
Oh, cool. I'm glad. Sometimes I got to change the graphic. I got it right this time. All right. Hi, Laura said Diaz. Cedric said Diaz. Mary went with Hata. Abdul went with Hata. Jimmy went with Diaz. Okay. So that's like 2 and 2 in the chat, right? Wait, 1, 2, no, 3. 3 for Diaz, 2 for Hata in the chat. But the panel was all in for Diaz. Lucho getting it. All right. I think it's safe to say then. El Lucho. Hey. Noodles gets the man of the match. Good for you. Good for you. Congratulations. Oh my goodness gracious. Comedy gold. All right. So, all right. Now that we're done with the rating section, is there anything you guys wanted to talk about? We got like about 5-6 minutes left in the show here.
Fake assists.
Yeah, I know. Let it go.
But Max, you always said like assists don't matter. So, like, how are they not all fake?
Anywho, we have a game in 3
Football
days.
philosophy with Max.
Yeah.
If all assists mean nothing, are all not fake? Yeah.
Yeah.
Diaz got man of the match because everyone was dismal. Well, someone's got to get it.
Shout out to Cedric. I got you, Cedric. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. Hi, Laura. I agree. It's not going to be as easy to replace Diaz as people make it out to be.
No, they have no money. They failed FFP again today.
Oh, did they?
They announced that today that like they registered that guy Victor and Almo, and they were like, right, cool, you were allowed to do that, so we're not going to say like they can't play anymore. But we've looked at what you've done, and you actually failed FFP, and now they want to do an investigation into the people that audited them to say that they did, because apparently £100 million just went missing like it does.
Oh my gosh!
So Barcelona
my goodness!
Officially failed FFP again. That they've been told we're not going to deregister Almo and Victor, but yeah, you boys have been up to some shenanigans.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Barcelona, let me say this. You've mortgaged your future, a lot of your future away just to make the ends meet. It's almost like, when you're playing Monopoly and you're like, and you're on the board and you're like, you got to go around the board one more time and you've already mortgaged practically all of your properties. You got to take down all your hotels and your houses and you got your cards flipped over. Jeez, but you got some very good looking properties. But they're all mortgaged. Oh man, that's what Barcelona seems like right now. But fortunately for themselves, they definitely are still involved in the Champions League. They're still involved in they're still involved in the Copa del Rey, right? I think, right? No, yes. I believe so. I believe so. They beat or they didn't beat I just remember because I saw Atletico Madrid knocked out of it. So, and then I think somehow they lost to something else. I think they lost. I think Atletico Madrid. I think they beat Atletico Madrid to get into the final. I think, or something like that. But big club, absolutely massive club. Barcelona is an absolutely massive club. But it goes to show you that, like, even with the riches that they create, Barcelona creates on the levels of Real Madrid when it comes to revenue in the world, but they're just holding on to all that talent is not easy. It's not easy. So, They do play amazing football, Alexander. You're spot on with that. They do play. Flick has got them playing really, really, really well this year. And it's another reason Flick is very, very endeared to Diaz. He really would like to see Diaz be a player that joins Barcelona. That's the reports have it. But you got to pay to play. So we'll see. We'll see. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about before we bounce out of here? We got about now like only a couple of minutes left, but is there anything you wanted to say? Great episode, by the way. Well done.
JK.
Yeah. Just blessed for the chat. Good to have so many people in. Good.
Yeah.
Press the like button as well. That'd be cool. And look forward to the Fulham game now. I think every game you just take it step by step.
Step by step.
Mm-hmm.
By step. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the big tune that was.
There you go. There you go.
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. Lee, is there anything you want to say to people before we let them do their thing? Enjoy the rest of their Thursday.
Just thanks to everyone. Thanks for the contributions and that. We'll see you again.
Okay. And Brian, anything you'd like to say?
Oh no, I just had my shout there about the Barca thing. So yeah, everybody take care. Thanks for being here. See you again on the next one.
Yeah. We're gonna get a good episode in tomorrow. We'll also get a preview of the Fulham game before that game. Obviously, it's in 3 days, right? So tomorrow's Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so it's on Sunday. So we'll most likely do the preview on Saturday. But definitely join us for a good TGIF. Good night to those that it is a late hour. Appreciate the fact that you stayed up with us. And also, big up to all those that are watching us on the replay. Definitely appreciate you guys dropping a like and a comment, maybe, so we can help, get the channel out there a little bit more, so we can bring some more people in to the tent that we can all continuing to enjoy conversation, dialogue, discourse, and growing the Reds family in general. So, big up to each and every one of you. We will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, my friends and family out there, up the Reds each and every time. We'll see you soon.